Welcome to the WEInvested podcast, where we teach you how to save and make more cash. Okay, so today on the WEInvested podcast, we have here with us Ashley Ahmadzai, and she is an intuitive life coach and mindset expert for high-performing female entrepreneurs ready to elevate their lifestyle, income, and impact from mediocre to magical. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I am doing so wonderful and I am honored to be here. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I do want to mention that she is the founder and the CEO of Mediocre to Magical Academy. So just to get that out there. But just to kind of start the interview off, can you let the people know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley Ahmadzai. I'm the only one on all of the platforms, primarily Instagram. That's where I drop a lot of my content, and also Facebook and then the Mediocre to Magical Academy as well.
That's awesome. So let's just jump right into it. What exactly is Mediocre to Magical Academy?
Yeah, that was something that came through as a download when I was just going about my day and really setting the intention of I wanted to create this beautiful, safe space for people who resonated with, intuitive abilities. They were spiritually curious. And so the idea of mediocre to magical came in, and that is now my trademark. That's now the name of my academy, my course. And the what inspired that was I feel that a lot of people tend to make mediocre choices rather, and everybody does, right? Whether it's around the
Right.
food that we eat or the habits that we have or the vocabulary that we're using, right? And how we talk about our reality and our environment. We make these small mediocre choices that lead up to huge mediocre results, right? And so if we want to tap into our best, most empowered version of ourselves, we need to start leaning in to our own leadership and lead ourselves first. And when we do, things become magical. So, as you had said in the beginning, clairvoyant, life coach, business coach, also manifestation mentor. So, one of the theories that I have, when we are stepping out of that mediocre mindset, mediocre habits, etc., and we start leaning into what are we manifesting? What are we calling in? What is it that we desire, and how can we align ourselves with that? That's when life becomes magical. And that is what I teach my clients, is truly how to manifest miracles. And I'm so excited to eventually get into some of my clients' results and what they are able to attract into their life, and how magical life gets to feel when it gets to be easy. Money gets to flow in easily, relationships get to flow in easily. Whatever that is, like, my mission is to help people achieve the impossible. And that's the whole theory behind mediocre to magical. What shifts do we need to take in order to align with the possibilities of what is available to us?
That's awesome. And I think the word that you used is like it's a great choice of word when you said download. So can you kind of explain what you mean when you say a download?
Absolutely. So I am a little bit of background, a classically trained psychic, if you will. I've gone to the Psychic Institute. I've been trained and mentored by two of the top psychics in the world. I've naturally had gifts and abilities. The truth is, everybody's psychic. Everybody has abilities. For example, clairvoyance is the ability to see mental image pictures with your mind's eye. Everybody is psychic. We all have clairvoyant abilities because, for example, when we close our eyes and we're dreaming, we're seeing a picture. We're seeing a movie play, but we're not seeing it with our actual eyes. We're seeing it with our mind's eye, right? So everybody has these abilities. There are many different gateways and different ways to receive information. So clairvoyance is mental image pictures, the ability to smell psychic information, to hear it, to feel it. If you guys ever get a feeling of like, I don't know why, man, I feel like I need to turn right instead of left, or I feel like we shouldn't go there, that feeling, and you don't know where it comes from, but it's just like deep inside your intuition, that's a psychic ability. That's clairsentience, feeling. Now, when I say download, that's one of the gateways, which is claircognizance. And that is when an idea kind of, or a thought, will just drop into your mind when you're going for a walk, when you're on your way to work, and a download just drops in, kind of just like a computer, and you're like, maybe I'll explore that. Or, I wonder what that's about. Maybe I'll call that person. Maybe I'll, whatever that is. So a download is the gateway when someone receives it through claircognizance, which is essentially the divine knowing.
Wow. Wow, that was a great explanation. That was awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, um I understand that you're a life coach as well. So, what is your definition of a life coach, and how did you get your start?
Wonderful. I've been coaching primarily female entrepreneurs for 8 years now, which is really exciting. Just a couple more years and it's going to be a decade. And so I've worked with hundreds, I'm sure like that, at least 1,000 women already. And it started out with just supporting friends, supporting family. And then I really wanted to take it seriously. And I realized what mediocre choices was I making? Again, about the food I was putting in my body, the products that I was using that are full of, toxins. I was taught like, oh, I'm so broke all the time, or bad things always happen to me, right? The vocabulary I was using was really mediocre. So I really started to dive into personal growth and got my hands on every podcast, every webinar, every John Maxwell book that I possibly can, like Robin Sharma, all of these gurus, I guess you could say that, but these mentors in leadership and really elevating who we are. When I started reading more of that and then being in community with other men and women who were, they were these people who were sitting at my table who were also reading those books. They were also leading into their own leadership and inspiring, right? We don't want to be mediocre anymore. Like, what shifts can we make to maximize this lifetime that we have? And so when I started on this path, it just completely skyrocketed my trajectory, and other people, more and more people started coming to me of, hey, Ashley, what do you do? What do you recommend? Why are you so happy? Like, how do you have so much energy? And then I started coaching people. And then professionally for the past 8 years is where I realized, wow, I can do this. I can use this for good. And I could use this as a business. And it would be a dream come true if I could do it full time, which is now what I do as a coach. So the definition of a life coach is someone who, and this is my definition of that, is someone who raises up thought leaders. I'm not, I don't want to just share a good idea with someone. Yes, I'm here for that. But I am here, most importantly, for the deep transformation within your nervous system, within your conscious and your subconscious mind. I want to create deep transformation and give people tools, support them, and so they can heal themselves and their family for the rest of their life. I don't want people to be dependent on me. Like, Ashley, I need to come and see you every week. Like, that's not my passion. A life coach is someone who empowers somebody else to tap into their own resources and their own tools. And I'm here as a life coach to remind people that you have everything that you need to succeed already within you. Already within you. You have everything that it takes. You're able to navigate any tricky situation. So a life coach really breathes that life into other people, breathes that belief into other people until they're strong enough to carry it on their own. And when they do, it's this ripple effect and they go out and change the world. And we are all here for freaking 2020, right? As wild as it has been, but this is the time when leaders are needed now more than ever. And so as a life coach, if I am able to be a part of that and contribute to the growth of the collective and the inspiration, the empowerment of the collective around the world, I'm freaking here for it. And that's what a life coach does.
And that's awesome too. And I'm a big believer in karma, and like that energy that you put out, you'll get the same thing back. So, I just think it's awesome that you're putting out, good energy into the world, and really focused on helping people. And that kind of leads me to my next question. What do you mean exactly when you say that you're a spiritual chiropractor? I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah, so actually, I love that you brought this up because those are not my words. I've had 3 clients recently say, like, separately, they don't know each other, but they say, Ashley, you're like my spiritual chiropractor. And what that means, and all of them have had like very synchronistic in how they've described this, is that when they are out of alignment, they're like, I just need one conversation with you. I just need to watch one training. I just need a little bit of your energy to pop me back into alignment. Because again, people don't need to be fixed, right? You have everything you need already inside of you to create, design, and fulfill and live that vibrant life. But what can happen is we can be thrown off course, thrown off track. And especially in the arena of manifestation, for example, we're always manifesting. What you think about, you bring about. So the quality of our thoughts are going to go out into the universe and they are going to create the quality of our reality. And that is so important. So as a spiritual chiropractor, if you will, that's what I can do is kind of call people out, right? As I hear that limiting belief, as I hear that like negative talk, as I hear that they're borrowing somebody else's filthy like doubt or judgment and they're taking that as their own, it's like, whoa, that's not yours, sister. Like, that's not yours, my friend. Let's delete, let's release it. And I specialize in releasing the top abundance blockers that keep people playing small in their life and in their business. And that is suppressed emotions, trapped energies, and limiting beliefs. And so what I find when people, they're like, Ashley, I'm doing everything I can to manifest. I'm doing everything I can to figure out my next steps. And I feel stuck or I feel plateaued. It's usually because they have a block in one of those areas. So what I get to do is, using my psychic abilities and also as a very seasoned and experienced coach, is let's have a conversation and boom, boom, boom. We just need to tweak a few things to get you back into alignment and moving forward with your goals.
That's awesome. So, kind of, I guess, getting into people's fears and, um, fears and phobias and things like that. Is it hard? Is it difficult to get people to open up sometimes, or to fully, be truthful with what's bothering them and what's holding them back? Is that is it a wall up ever, or a barrier or anything?
There can be, but there really isn't ever with me. I do believe that is a gift that I do have, where people do feel connected and welcomed and safe. Your feelings are safe with me. A lot of people don't realize the depth of my background. They see me here and they're like, happy-go-lucky Ashley, just manifesting her dreams. But I do have a deep background of child abuse, like taken away by social services and abandonment, like all of these things. And so people automatically, when they go through like really traumatic experiences and they know that I've gone through that too, or I'm able to speak to them in that language, it really takes down those barriers. And also it's really important as a coach, it is my responsibility to ask the smart questions to help them ask or answer and discover for themselves, like, what is it that really is bothering them? What is the root cause of the problem or the behavior? So I'm skilled in being able to do that. So that way we're breaking down those barriers to really get to the core and the root. But I also do a clarity call with each of my clients in advance where I'm saying, hey, like, it's a free call. This is who I am. Tell me, like, what is it that I can support you with? And this relationship is only going to work if we're both in it to win it. There will be tears. There will be times when there's going to be tough love, but I'm here for it. And we're better together, right? Because if we're going to go through hard things, it's better if we are together. And I'm just honored to be a coach and a support for people. So usually they feel really comfortable because I kind of start out the gate that way.
That's awesome. So what is the importance, and I know you kind of hit on this a little bit, but what's the importance of mindset and manifestation in business?
Oh my goodness, it's everything. I think it's everything. So the method to my madness, if you will, is in like my proprietary system, and what I teach my clients is math plus magic plus mission. So the math, the magic, and the mission. I believe that all three of those ingredients are required in order for us to grow a successful and thriving business. So the math is like, as a business owner, yes, we have to have the strategy and the marketing and the leads and all of those things. It's the math. We have to get it in front of as many people as possible. So yes, we need that. But that's not the biggest ingredient, because you can have all like the best systems in the world, but if you don't have the magic, which is, that second M, that's the mindset. That's when you're working with the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the universal laws, manifestation. Again, those are the three abundance blockers that we focus on clearing: suppressed emotions, trapped energies, and limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs is the mindset. So we have to have the math, yes. but it's also a whole lot of magic, which is really, really important. And I'll dive into detail with that also. And then last is the mission, because again, I'm not interested in just taking money to be a cheerleader for someone. I am here to raise thought leaders and to create deep, deep, like cellular transformation to move forward and change the world, right? So people, especially entrepreneurs, we really have to be connected with that why. What is our mission? Why are we doing this? Are we walking in our purpose? Are we feeling fulfilled, right? Because that is the intention. We don't want to feel burnt out in our business. So the importance of the magic, if you will, with it, which is both the mindset and the manifestation, they go hand in hand, because again, we're always manifesting. And I have been on both ends of this, where earlier part of my story was when I was a single mom on WIC. I couldn't afford food for my baby. I was doing everything that I could. I was just so broken. And I was hanging around people who had that language also. I'm so broke, like things happen to me, or it just is, like being really nervous about like Friday the 13th, like something bad's gonna happen. Like I was putting that energy out there. What you believe about your reality is ultimately true. For all of the listeners and the entire audience, if you take one thing away from this interview, I hope that it is this: what you believe about your reality is ultimately true. And so when I was believing these low vibrational stories about my life, I created that. Now I'm in a completely different life. Like everything that I have, everything on my vision board, I truly have. I'm really excited to create a new one. But it is because I've told myself a different story. When you tell yourself a different story, you become an energetic match for whatever it is that you're calling in. So now instead of saying, so I know this is kind of like financial podcast, financial resource here, is instead of I'm broke and I can't afford that, how about we change the story to I'm saving for something else right now? It's so different. It's so empowered. Another one is like, money. She comes and she goes. Like I can never trust her. She's never there when I need her. There's always more month at the end of my money, right? Or we can choose a more empowered thought, which is like, money's my homegirl. Like she's got me. She's always there for me. Even debt, she had my back when I couldn't cover it. She's that friend who spotted you when you went out to lunch. That's money. Like my debt, I'm like, yeah, I'm so grateful when I get to pay her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so like, that's my relationship with money. So you know what? Money and I, we're freaking best friends. And so with that, money flows in really easily, right? So we got to tell ourselves a different story. We change our mindset, we change what we're a match for, and therefore we manifest abundance and financial abundance in that example, when we combine all the things in the magic.
Man, that's awesome. I'm loving the energy and the passion here. And I'm definitely a firm believer of, what you say matters and how you think matters, for sure. But just to kind of get into, I guess, a little bit more personal side, can you remember the time or the era where you made that change and you decided, okay, I'm not gonna think this way anymore. I'm gonna, what caused that shift for you?
Absolutely. So as I had mentioned, this time when I was just so broken. I had this thriving career as a flight attendant for private corporate jets. It was like this budding career. I ended up getting pregnant, and then my life just kind of like took this down. I was like plateaued, like face plant, like really. And so here I am, like I got my WIC card. I have my little baby. She's still an infant. I'm alone. I didn't have the support that I needed, all the things. So I go to the grocery store, I get my groceries, I come back into the car, buckle my baby up, and I'm at the steering wheel and I'm just feeling so much shame and so much sadness. And it was in this moment that I surrendered completely. And I said, God, angels, guides, universe, whatever you are, I don't even know. Whatever it is, I know that other people can be abundant. And if they can have that life, if they can live that, then I can too. Please, 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 I beg of you, show me how. This is not what I dreamed of as a little girl. If other people can do it, then I can too. And I promise you, if you show me how to get out of this hole, I will teach and I will show the world. And I just cried into my steering wheel. And Presley, she's 5 now. Like she was like, it's just cooing in the back, right? His mommy's having a complete mental breakdown. And it was that moment when another download came in. I sent up the prayer. I changed my belief system. It wasn't, I'm struggling, I gotta figure this out. It wasn't like me trying to control it. It was, tell me what the to do. And then what came in was, the wait is over, my time is now. And that is what I believed. It wasn't, I'm stuck, what am I going to do? I can't find support, there are no resources, I shouldn't have done this. It was, the wait is over, my time is now. I'm going to find those opportunities. I'm an opportunity magnet. And I just switched the energy. From that moment, that is when I decided, if there's a free webinar, I'm there. If there's a free meeting that's about personal growth or a meetup, wherever, I'm there. If there's someone who's steps above me, you betcha. Hey, Tina, on Facebook, do you have 20 minutes? I'd love to chat with you. What are your tips for success? I was hungry and I was diving in because I chose a different story. And my life is holy freaking moly. Like I can't believe where I'm at and where I'm going, but it is about that mindset.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And as I was doing my research on you and looking at your background, from Instagram to your website to your Facebook pages, you have a great online presence. So, what role has social media played, in the growth of your business and networking and meeting new people?
Thank you. And an excellent question, because I do love social media. A lot of people have some shade, they aren't really loving social media. But I do, because of how I use it. I see it as a platform to share the lessons that I have learned and share the inspiration. What is it that I've learned? What are my pitfalls? What are the mistakes that I've made? How can I share that with my audience so they can walk around them and they can get there faster? Because there was a point, again, going back to this point where I was like so broken and so sad, I was asking for guidance. And I'm like, hey, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? The first conversations that I had, people were just saying, I don't know, pat me on the head. They're like, just pray about it, honey. And it made me really angry, because I was like, but I need an action step. Like, again, I'm hungry. I want to get out of this. Like, you can't just tell me to pray about it. I need something. And I made a commitment then that I will never, ever allow anybody to come into my space, social media, through a call, in the freaking grocery store. I don't care. I will never allow anyone to come into my space and feel like they're going to walk away without support or without an answer or without guidance. So I can't be all around the world at one, like in person, right? But I can be on social media. So I have 2 virtual assistants that I work with who help me in my platforms and help me kind of run my platform, so that if people have questions, they're funneling them to me, right? They help me get my social media content out there, because I'm here to share transformation. I'm here to inspire so other people can have their aha moments, right? And maybe I never meet them, and it's just one post that makes them think differently, but that's the work that I'm in. Right? It's like, I'm here to create change, and I never want anybody to feel alone. Even if they can go to my platform, they can go see my Instagram stories, they can go and watch a free training, and they teach that to their cousin or their aunt, or they share it with their brother or whatever it is, like, my work is done. So I love connecting with people on my platforms. Instagram is a really, really big one. Unfortunately, algorithms are a little pain. So if you guys get in my DMs, I want you to say, hey, Ashley, it's me, and I heard you from this podcast, and we'll connect from there.
For sure, that's awesome. And speaking on Instagram stories and webinars and just kind of being hungry for it. Judging by your Instagram story, it still seems like you're hungry for it. Like, I still can see that ambition. And just looking at your story for the past 2 days, it was just full of webinars and client meetings and sit downs and interviews. So, how can you stay so productive, and so active? Like, what is a daily routine like for you?
Yeah, so this is something that I've definitely had to learn, because a lot of my clients are one-on-one, because of the nature of the work that we do, where we're diving in deep, we're releasing deep trauma wounds, we're building women, helping them build their business. So a lot of things are really individualized. I also so I do one-on-ones, I do psychic work. I also run a mastermind. So there's a lot of things that are involved in that. So you guys will see a lot of that in my stories, which I love to share. And it did come to a point where I was getting really, not burnt out, but really exhausted. And I realized that my schedule was running me rather than me running my schedule. And I had to step back and say, this isn't the life that I wanted to live or create for myself. So here are like my success habits that are working really, really well for me. So number one, I schedule not only my day, but my week accordingly. So I stack my one-on-one clients on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So those are for my one-on-one clients or my mastermind clients. That's when we meet. So my daughter is in school or she has childcare and I could just power it out. So if you guys notice, like I work like 9 or 10 hours on a Monday or on a Tuesday just on camera, just doing interviews like this, with my individual clients. And then on Wednesday and Friday, those are my content creation days. Those are where I can kind of recuperate. I can go grocery shopping. I can meal prep. I can, clear out my emails. Like all of the things that aren't actually the delivery. So like the sales, the marketing, the upkeep. I will do my meetings with my assistants, for example, my business coach. So that's like my time. And then ideally on the weekends, that's when it's family time. And that is, as an entrepreneur and as my business is growing, sometimes that can be a little bit muddy because I'm like, ooh, mommy has to, create this training for this virtual summit that I'm speaking at, right? So sometimes it's that, but for the most part, I will do Sundays. Sundays are our family time where mommy's not working and my phone is put away, etc. So that's how I set it up. It's most efficient. And then as far as like a daily routine, what I've been doing, which really works, is, and I'll leave you with this quote too, is that magical things happen when you say yes to yourself. So I realized when my schedule gets so crazy, I'm saying yes to everybody else. So what I was doing is first thing in the morning, my alarm would go off. I'd pull up my phone and I would scroll through all the notifications. I'd get through as many as I could on Instagram, on my Facebook, on my whatever that looks like. And hopefully we still have service. Looks like it's paused. There we go. Good. I think we're good. Um, so I would go and I would scroll through, and it would take so much of my time in the morning. The first thing that I did was saying yes to everybody else. So and it caused me anxiety of like, oh, I have to hurry up and work. I have to hurry up and do everything. So what I've switched that to is I will put my charger and I'll like toss it under the bed. So I'm not tempted to touch it. I just have my Apple Watch and that is my alarm, my Apple Watch. And then the very first thing that I do is roll out of bed and start stretching. I was like, all I have to do is get out of bed. It'll help me wake up and then start doing a yoga sequence. Sometimes I'll just move my body and do what feels good. Sometimes I'll actually, if I have the energy, I'll turn on the actual like Beachbody or like YouTube it or whatever that is so I can follow along. And then once I do that, I'll go get some water. I'll do my breath work. I'll do my mantras. I'll do my visualizations. I have vision boards downstairs. I have them upstairs. And I'll just go through my vision board and just visualize them coming to fruition. So all of that takes about an hour of time. And then I will get ready, I'll brush my teeth, and by then I'll kind of do my hair and my makeup, get ready for the day, then I check my phone. So again, magical things happen when you say yes to yourself first. So when I can fill my cup in the very, very beginning of the day, get myself ready, get my daughter ready for school, take her to school. By the time that I come back, now I'm ready to work and I've done everything that fills up my cup. I have a meal service that is delivered, so that way it's easy peasy. I don't have to think about it, especially on Monday, Tuesday. So leaders delegate. And so that's one of the things, right? Are we delegating a house cleaner? Are we delegating a meal service, right? Am I delegating in the sense of like my childcare, sometimes my daughter going to elementary school? And also leaders need time to think. So we want to schedule that in. And in the morning, that's kind of my time. And then also in the afternoon.
That's awesome. So it seems like in the morning time when you say yes to yourself, does that make you more receptive to new downloads and different ideas as well?
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes they'll happen in that moment where I'll get an epiphany, something will come through. But most often, that my brain will just be really quiet when we still our minds enough to be able to hear our own heartbeat. That's when we're able to truly tune into our own intuition. And so sometimes I'm just sitting in silence and saying, I am ready to receive. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? And just sitting in that silence and allowing my body to, and my mind to just rest in this conscious meditation. And then throughout the day, the downloads may start dripping in. So that's one of the things. So sometimes it's immediately, sometimes it's throughout the day, but most importantly, opportunities are going to show up, right? Where someone's going to say, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Hey, do you want to be on my TV show? Hey, do you want to be featured here? But I set that intention the very beginning of the day. And then so it is because we're attracting it, right? We're manifesting it.
That's awesome. So when you first got started as a life coach, how did you know that you had the right business idea?
Great question. I had started with a network marketing company and I started really like slow there, just like sharing ideas with people. And so I had a lot of experience. Like I already knew I was good at it until I decided to branch off on my own and branch off in my own company. And I made that decision because my client, the people I was coaching individually, were giving me so much feedback. It wasn't something of like, oh, I think I'm good at it. I had tons of people saying, Ashley, your energy, how are you doing it? Why are you so happy? I feel so good when I'm around you. And I was like, do I have this like secret sauce? I mean, I prayed for it and I was like, show me what it is and I'll share it with the world, right? Like that was my prayer, ask and you shall receive. And then I loved it so much. But what I realized is I was giving a lot for free. I was coaching a lot for free, but I wasn't making very much. And then I started doing this as a single mom too, where I was like, I was giving free advice and support based off all the books and all of the trainings that I was absorbing and sharing with people, but I could barely make it. I could barely make ends meet, right? And so I was like, how can I turn this into, how can I monetize it? Because I do believe that our income, especially as coaches, is a direct reflection of the amount of lives that we change. Our income is a reflection of our impact. We don't make money unless we're changing lives. Right. So when I saw it that way and became more empowered with my money story, now I get to share that with other people and their results are growing because I'm not just coaching them for free. They take it seriously. There's an energy exchange there. So yeah, I knew when it felt like it was time and I was like, I can't keep doing this for free, but I'm really good at it and I want my career to be changing lives.
That's awesome. So I hear you talking about your virtual assistants and how you have meetings with your team and with your business coaches. So what's the importance of having a good team and how did you build your team?
Excellent question. I just, for you and your powerful questions, they're so well thought out. Thank you for doing the research and, empowering your audience by, having these things prepared. I love that. So I always have a coach. I usually will have, at least one. I recently had three coaches for different things that were kind of overlapping. So first of all, having a coach is so incredibly important. I know how it's changed my life. Just having a mentor of someone who believes in you so much and is like, oh yeah, that's possible to have a $400,000 launch that you launch every 4 to 8 weeks, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, people are doing that out there. Like people like me are making $1 million, like multiple millions. What? When you have a coach, someone who can expand that vision, it opens the doors for you to be able to walk through and see a new reality beyond our own like gates that we put for ourselves. So a coach is someone who's always on my team, and that is incredibly life changing. So be really mindful of who you are working with because people, you want a coach that's going to change your life and you're going to get accelerated results. And so that's one thing, right? Personally, as I grow my business, I'm always going to have that. And then building my team. So I do have two virtual assistants. One specifically helps me with all of my social media engagement because, like, for example, if you guys are interested and you join the academy, I can get like 20 people a day who will add, but I have like 50 messages in a day to get back to on Instagram. Like it can take me hours to do it. So automatic messages of like, hey, boom, welcome to the academy, right? So Breezy will do things like engagement. And she's my friend too, but my assistant, Samantha, she does more of like my email list and like scheduling out my content, things like that. So basically what is it in my business? I made a list. What is it in my business that I am actually needed for? And the only thing I'm really needed for is to coach and to be on my videos. So to do podcasts, to do my live trainings, my card pulls in the Mediocre to Magical Academy, that's all I needed for. So as we grow our team, it's really important to say, what is it that I can delegate? So that way I can be at my highest voltage doing what I do best. Because I was feeling super weighed down when I was trying to be on all of the platforms and respond to all of the messages. That's just really, really exhausting. So now I have a team to support me. And I just had another VA reach out to me right before this. And she's like, hey, I'd love to take your business onto Pinterest. And I was like, how do I do that? Like, let's talk, because we're better together. Like, we can grow faster and more efficiently once we have that team.
That's awesome. So, you spoke about, helping change lives and building teams and networking and kind of, just living life on your own terms pretty much. So, what would you say is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Mm, I love the challenge. Because I think there are so many challenges with being an entrepreneur, not only leading ourselves, right? Like, I can sleep in if I want to. Who's going to hold me back from that? I can not ask people and invite them to a sale, right? Who's going to care? Like, there's a lot of things that I can let slip through the cracks. And I actually have a notification that pops up on my phone very frequently, and it says, I honor all agreements to myself. So I think that what happens sometimes, you're like, I'm going to wake up at this time, and then you don't. But guess what? You didn't honor that agreement to yourself. And that to me is kind of like betraying and pushing beyond my own boundary, right? Like, I said that I was going to reach out to X amount of people, create this content for my audience, X, Y, and Z. If I don't do that, I'm not honoring an agreement, not only to my audience, but also to myself. So I love the challenge, because in order to be a coach of integrity, I need to coach myself first. And I need to honor agreements with myself. And that is a challenge when you're the only one really holding yourself accountable, because no one else cares, like, no one really does. I'm the one who cares about my goals and about that impact. So I love the challenge of leading myself first. I love the challenge of having clients who always grow me. In the past 2 weeks, I've been in 2 masterminds with 2 people who have been featured on Oprah. Like,
Wow.
I love the challenge. Yeah, I felt like a real small little bit of shrimpy when I was in those things. But you know what? I was speaking at the same summit. Like, I was in the same mastermind. So I love the challenge of being around people who help me grow, and my clients help me grow because they're so intriguing and they're so powerful. And that's a challenge too, right? Who do I need to be able to become in order to lead these people? So the personal growth that's involved in being an entrepreneur is my favorite. And then, of course, the time freedom, because we do work a lot, but I do get to set my schedule. And my sweet daughter, she's 5 years old, and yeah, she knows mommy works really, really hard, and mommy is like, my business is my other baby, but she also knows if she ever needs me, I'm there. Like, I am totally there 100%, especially being in quarantine. It's like, that was really scary. A lot of people couldn't go to work. For me, I said, hey, we're going to reschedule our appointment. And so that time freedom is definitely what I'm very, very grateful for as a mother, as a wife.
What is the single most important reason for your success?
I believe in myself more than anybody else possibly could. It truly is what it is, because my background, having trauma and a lot of abuse of like different forms. One of them was verbal abuse of like, straight up, Ashley, you're not pretty enough to do modeling. You're not smart enough to take AP classes. You're not that you get too stressed. You get this. And it was nothing that I ever did was enough. And so I realized that if I bought other people's like their false stories and their judgments and their projections of their own insecurity, then I would vibrate at that level. And so my secret to success is like, anytime anyone says anything to me, it's like a return to sender. This is a tool I teach my clients. I imagine it like a little like FedEx box that kind of comes to your doorstep. It's like ding dong, you open it, you look at it. You don't open it up yet, right? But you open the door, you see the package, and you get to look at the contents, and you get to say, do I want to keep it? Do I want to exchange it, or do I want to return to sender? So maybe I'm going to open it up and say, wow, like I really resonate with this. Thank you for this compliment. I choose to receive it. The other one is like, this is kind of a passive aggressive comment, and I'll take a little bit from it. If someone's like, Ashley, you talk too much, I might say, yeah, maybe I can be better at listening, but I don't talk too much because this is what I do, right? So I'm just exchanging it. A third thing is you could return it to sender. This is not for me. That's their projection, their judgment. So you get to look at the contents and we get to send away, return it to sender. That's what it is. And so that's kind of what I do with anything that comes into my space. And because I'm very protected in my mindset, I believe in myself more than anybody else, because no one believes in your dreams more than you do. So you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be your own coach, your own cheerleader. Like my inner voice, she doesn't tear me down. And if she does, she's like, okay, the first thought is, how can we see this differently? How can we make this easier? What thought do we need to think in order to attract a different reality? And that's what I teach my clients as well. So you can be your own coach, and they don't need me anymore. Like they're empowered. They got me in their head.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So throughout your 8-year business journey, what would you say has been like one of your most critical moments, like a fight or flight kind of moment?
Ooh, that's a good one. A fight or flight kind of moment. Okay, this is a good one. This was a couple of years ago, and I was giving all of the content. I was doing all of the training. Like I was giving, but I hadn't really mastered my conversion yet. I was just like being a good person, doing all the things. I didn't have any assistants yet. I was like just creating the content, but I wasn't super focused or streamlined. I was just doing it. And then I got really frustrated because the income wasn't flowing in. And I had success, and then which, success is kind of like a relative term, but I had the income, and then it was going like this and da, da, da. And so I hit this like, not plateau, but this downhill where I wasn't making money. And I was like, I might need to get another job. Like, what do I do? I'm struggling to find clients. And I got really angry, and I was like praying. I'm like, you said I'd be good at this. Like I said, you teach me, you taught me, I'm teaching the world. Like, why isn't this happening? I had this moment of anger and rage. And I was like, I've been hoodwinked, like I got so mad. And I'm really glad that I did. I remember I called my friend, I went on a walk, and I was like, I might need to get another job, but like, this is my coaching, and like, what am I going to do? And I kind of fell apart in that moment. But I'm so glad that I did, because in that moment, just like I did at the steering wheel many, many years prior, I surrendered. I surrendered my control, my lack, the white knuckle around what I thought it had to look like and what it had to be. I let it go. And I got mad enough to feel exhausted, to be like, ugh, what is next? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm fucking listening. And in that moment, everything went up, and I immediately had like a five-figure month. Like my business just grew. But I needed to break down in order to break through. I needed to realize where I was blocking myself, and that, number one, where were my thoughts? But number two, how I wasn't surrendering to the process. I was trying to control it. And when we're working with universal laws, it's a little bit different. And so that was one of my moments where I thought I was going to have to get a job. And now, like, I'm so unavailable. Like, even now I'm like, it's Black Friday coming up. I'm like, do I want to sign new clients? I don't know. Because I know I can do it really easily, but it's a different mindset. It's a different energy. It's a different, all of the things. But it's safe to have those moments where you're breaking down. You want to scream into a pillow, or you're going on a walk and sobbing to your friend that you feel like your coaching practice is going to fall apart. But we have to realize that it's just tissue paper in front of us. It's just tissue paper. And once we push through, then there's magic on the other side.
Oh man, that's awesome. For sure. So who do you look up to for inspiration?
Such a great question, because I had mentors, like back 8 years ago. I had these amazing mentors that I looked up to, and how they would hug me with their whole heart, and they would hold my hands and they would say, like, tell me your dreams, tell me what's important to you, tell me what your goals are for you and Presley. I had these amazing mentors in this network marketing company, and I always looked up to them. Now I still have, so Arbonne is, expanding my business portfolio. It's still a network marketing company that I have, and I have, weekly income that comes from that. But I've branched off into my own business, which is now my bread and butter. And so what I found is I'm like, who are my mentors? Because now I coach some of the VPs of this network marketing company. Like, people who are at the very top of the company, like, I coach because of like what I do. So it's like, who do I look up to? And I've been praying for that, like, God, angels, guides, universe, like, I need someone to look up to. I need someone to remind me of like what a queenly entrepreneur and a queenly leader looks like and feels like. Because I work in a home office. We're in quarantine. All of my clients are virtual because they're around the world. I just feel alone. And so it's going to feel like a sidebar, but this is like totally the truth. I've had this wild hair to go and travel 4 hours to Half Moon Bay to visit one of my best friends, who's also one of my mentors, also one of my clients. Like, it's just one of those things. And when I got to witness like her and her husband and the life that they live, I was like, yes, like, she is one of the people, like, my friends who are doing it. They might not be doing the same business that I am, but how they lead their lives as like a wife, as a mother, I was like, wow, I have this all around me. I just need to tap into my circle, and I just say, like, who's at my table? Who can of my friends can I spend time with, and who can I learn from, rather than thinking, oh, I have to like always pay for it, like with another coach. So that was really beautiful because she helped me kind of see things differently. And it's like, what books are you reading? What are your bedtime routines? How do you balance business being a mom of two? That's my big fear. I don't know how I'm going to do it with another one, but I got to witness her and say, oh, how are you doing it? So Morgan, I would say, is like one of my mentors, but also many of my friends, because people are so gifted, and we just need to see the good in them, and what can we learn from the people who are in our life.
How do you define success as an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. That, because it's like a variable term, right? Success, some people say it's money. Some people say that it's having all of your debt paid off. Some people say it's the time freedom when you have the flexibility, right? Whatever it is, I would say for me, success as an entrepreneur is when you can find harmony between your passion and your life. And by that, I mean, success is when we are nourishing our body, when we're eating healthy, when we have our self-care practice, we can be a present mother, we can be a present wife, we can have clients where I don't really believe in balance, because things are always going to be a little off key, because it happens, right? Like certain days of the week, for example, I'll have 9 or 10 hour days just with clients or camera stuff. Other days, it could be 1 hour and the rest is just family time, whatever that is. So I really do believe when we can nourish ourselves, we can nourish the people of priority in our life, and we can also be of full service and at the highest voltage for the people that we are serving. That is success. That is success, because I'm realizing, we can make a lot of money, but money does kind of buy happiness. Like, anyone who says it, like, oh, whatever, people say that, but it's like, money's not everything, but it's right up there with oxygen. So let's be real, and like anyone who's like anyone who's ever like lived in poverty, it's like money does buy a little bit of happiness, like comfort, safe, right? Things like all those things. So money is important. But what I realize is that I would rather be in harmony than I would, oh my gosh, I had to stay up till 2:00 in the morning getting work done. And my poor daughter is saying, Mommy, why don't you play with me? Like, money is not worth that. I'm not willing to sacrifice that. Like, we don't need balance, but we can find harmony. So success is when you're doing everything that you love at the same time and with ease.
That's awesome. I love that. So how would you like for people to remember you and your company?
Oh, that's a good one. The first thing that came to mind is like love. I want people to know that I'm here. I've had a lot of people give me feedback on this, like clients or audience members say, Ashley, I feel like you're my best friend. I feel like I can tell you anything. You're not going to judge me. I feel like you always know exactly the right thing to say. And that is how I want people to remember me. I want them to know, like my company, like when I said, like, I always felt safe with Ashley. Again, my feelings, my emotions, my fears were safe with her. Everybody needs to feel safe in feeling our emotions. And sometimes if we're not safe in this container, we can feel safe with somebody else who can help us navigate that. And so I don't know if it's appropriate to say, like, I want everyone to feel like I'm their best friend, but kind of deep down inside, I do, because I know what it's like to feel alone in so many areas of my life, especially when I was in like my darkest moments. And I want everybody to know that you're not alone, and I'm here to support you. And maybe it is, heart to heart when we're out of quarantine, right? Or I'm at an event and I'm speaking in front of thousands of people, or maybe it's through social media and a DM or a like or a comment, but whatever it is, I want people to know they're not alone. They're always supported. And hopefully people are thinking about me with manifestation. A lot of people will say that when they have a negative thought, like my clients, they're like, Ashley, you were in my head and this is what I told myself. How can I make it easier? How can I see things differently? What would Ashley tell me? And I'm like, sweet, that's great. Like, that's how I want them to remember me, is like in their head, helping them make positive change in their life.
That's awesome. So, before we get out of here, are there any future projects or releases or anything that you're working on that you would like to announce?
Yes, thank you. So I will say stay tuned to that, because you guys definitely follow me on Instagram for sure. Come say hi, please get in my DMs. Like, it's really important, especially new audience members, to like know where people are coming from. I have a long AF waitlist for this program that I'm coming out with. It is a group program. It's been coming through as a download. I haven't fully named it yet, but I have the tools and I'm working on it right now. And I am a psychic, so I do psychic healing, psychic deep dive work. That's one thing that I do, as well as work with female entrepreneurs and like building your business, clearing the abundance blockers to that. So they do go kind of hand in hand. But a lot of people have been saying, Ashley, like, it's great for me to do the psychic healing work and like be able to do these readings for them, but I want to teach other people how to do it. So in this program that I'm developing, it's specifically on how to release the suppressed emotions. What are they? What are the signs and symptoms? How do you release them? Tools, like actionable tools that you can use anytime to, again, teach you and your family, heal yourself for the rest of your life. You don't ever have to worry about fear or guilt or shame or forgiveness. They don't stay in your system because you know how to move through them, right? So this program is, how do you release the suppressed emotions? How do you release the trapped energies? What is it? The signs and symptoms, the tools, and then also limiting beliefs. So that way we're bulletproof. Like, truly we are. Like, we don't have to worry about there's no such thing that's scary to us. This is another thing that is a part of like my mindset, is I'm not afraid to fail at all. Like, I'm excited because I'm going to just learn something. I'm going to try something new. And if I get embarrassed or if I do something like that, I know how to release it from my body. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Like at first, initially, because we're human, right? But then I know how to move through it. If I do something, here's another thing, if I misstep and I say something wrong, like a lot of people are like, well, what if I say the wrong thing? I'm like, just do it. And then if you say the wrong thing, you're like, what can I do better next time? How can I apologize to that person that I may have offended, right? Like, we don't have to be afraid. We have full permission to move forward, especially when those fears, the guilt, whatever it is, when we know how to release it and how to identify it, this is when we slingshot towards our goals, because nothing's holding us back. What holds people back is invisible. It's invisible. Fear. They're afraid what people are going to say, what they're going to judge, what's going to happen, right? Like me speaking on stages, I have a big fear of like walking up in my nice sparkly dress with like my high heels, whatever it is, in front of a conference of like 15,000 people and then tripping on my way up. Obviously, like, that's a very realistic fear. But what you betcha I've run through it in my head of how I'd recover from that. But but if it did happen, I have the tools to be able to say, I'm going to move it right through my body so I can continue my talk and it's not even going to bother me. And in fact, how do we move through that fear before we get on stage so we're not even available for it to happen in the first place? So long-winded, but this program is going to be so good. It is, again, I have a long wait list for it because I'm like, I hired this new coach to help me do it. It's going to be absolutely freaking amazing. If you guys would like to get on that wait list, anyone who's on the wait list, you get early bird pricing anyways. I promise you it's going to be absolutely amazing. And it may come with a certification too.
Nice. So look, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. And I know we're running short on time, but here on the We Invested podcast, we usually play a question game at the end, rapid fire, three
You can do it.
questions.
You can do it. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna start it off. Question number one: where's your favorite place to travel?
To travel. I don't travel very much, but I went to Half Moon Bay and I really loved it. I like Austin. Santa Barbara is my second home.
I love Santa Barbara too. Okay.
Mhm.
Question number two: what song explains your life the most?
Oh my, This Girl is on Fire by Alicia Keys. Woo!
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Question number three: what's an amazing thing that you did that no one was around to see?
I died at a marathon.
Nice,
My
nice.
heart
Okay.
stopped, but everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. My heart. I did, but I didn't. I was dead. But I did.
Oh,
Like
you
my
said
heart
you
stopped.
died in a marathon.
Yeah, I ran
Oh,
short.
that's
I ran a
oh
half marathon and my heart stopped.
what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. You died in a marathon.
Wait. I got one thing. I know this is rapid fire, but I did. Like 10 feet before the finish line, my heart stopped. I like ran myself to death. Like literally, that's a diagnosis. And even though I didn't cross the finish line alive, I crossed the finish line on the gurney. So I had a finishing time. So I actually have like a medal, and the paramedics who saved my life actually got an award, like the American Red Cross Award for going above and beyond the um, duties and service.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. So you died and came back to life.
Yes. Thanks to the paramedics.
Man, that's last question. Last question. I believe I read somewhere that you were a Disney fanatic. Is that true?
Yes.
Favorite all-time ever Disney movie?
Ooh, gosh, they're all so good. They're so good. But I'm gonna have to go with Beauty and the Beast because I've secretly always wanted to be Belle. I actually wanted to audition to become Belle at Disneyland, but you have to be 5'6" and I'm only 5'4". So now I just pretend for my daughter's preschool, like her old school.
Oh man, well look, we gotta keep hope alive, man. Hopefully you can,
Yeah.
become Belle one day. And I'm glad you came back to life too after that marathon, half marathon. That's insane. Well,
Thank
Ashley,
you. Me too.
yeah, Ashley, thank you so much for stopping by and dropping off great information. It's been an awesome session, and I've learned a lot in this hour time. So thank you.
Wonderful. I am so honored to be here and thank you.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too.